coming out now. The fight for stage 2 needs to start now, essentially. It needs to, you know, really kick into gear, because otherwise you've got 5 play days done, 4 left to go, and all of a sudden things are on the downhill.
I mean, they're already pretty on the downhill for both teams. A bounce back absolutely required. First ban coming out from the side of Vitality is going to be the Hibana. Then step, of course, into 2 bans coming out for Rogue. And in the earlier game, when BDS played on this map against G2, we saw them bringing out all 3 hard breaches. They had Maverick, they had Thermite, and they had Hibana. Ace was scattered to the winds, and we all forgot that he was a thing for a short time. In this game, I doubt that will be the case, as the only 2 hard breaches remaining are going to be that Maverick and the Ace coming out. Defensive ban coming through is going to be the Aruni. That's an interesting one. Some teams have made good use of the Aruni so far, Ace, but some have kind of said, not really for us, not really the sort of thing we want to do, and the site selection on which she is employed also a little bit selective.
Absolutely. Valkyrie going to be our final operator out of the pool for tonight. It's our final matchup. It is Vitality versus Rogue on Clubhouse. We're going to have Vitality starting things off on the defense. And it's going to be imperative that either team gets a good start here. As Em said, loading in, I think she's absolutely right when it comes to Rogue. And that is the fact that without a good start, I don't think that they are likely to turn this one around. They just don't feel like the sort of team that are going to fight back from a big deficit at the minute.
That's what makes me nervous, is the kind of motivational piece, right? They were, 4-0 up against Secret. Secret call a timeout, have a conversation, and the game just swings back their way quite dramatically. It's unfortunate, but it does feel like the mentality piece really does play into this team. And equally when they're doing well, when you see them, you know, potentially coming out ahead and winning, they look so excited, like the smiley faces all around. I remember the game that they did win early in the stage, you saw the end of game player cams. They were actually all smiling. A rare thing to see a team full almost of Germans all smiling, but they were indeed happy, believe it or not. The last couple of weeks, maybe a bit less so. Anyway, we start on the downstairs, and Cactus, a player that I always celebrate, Maestro. Although his stats aren't necessarily the best, I think his Maestro play is absolutely phenomenal. You can find him to be, I think, one of the best anchors playing on this operator. Keep a close eye on him throughout this game and see how he does holding those longer range angles with the Elder.
So we're going to have what looks like a bit of an attempt at a top floor hold. We've got Shinka up there just getting the mute jammers down. There's one inside of the bedroom there, which is going to make it difficult for drones to progress anywhere past the main corridor. One onto that east breach, support from Bibu, and plenty of attention to the top floor. We've also got an Oryx on side. We're going to have some early damage exchange between P4 and Leon there, as there is an attempt at a peek coming in from Vitality, showing that they're looking to play this one out aggressively. But they do come out worse off of the 2.
It's interesting as well to see Leon not being the one on hard support here. So that's kind of moving over to being Rips, with an Ace is playing the sort of flex support, playing on the Ace, and Leon being that more flex base lineup, I guess. But then you look across the roster, and it is a bit more of a, I don't want to say a passive lineup, but it is definitely more, or at least less, stepping away from the hyper-aggressive style that we'd often see coming out of Rogue. Looks a lot more kind of centered around this utility clearance, around the soft destruction they've got on side. A lot to work with on that format, I think.
Corey just holding that long angle. He's on the garage. Rappel there just on the side wall, peeking into the construction window. We're going to have Cactus taking out those Kairos pellets on the kitchen hatch for the first one, but there will be another attempt coming in. Sorry, not Kairos, it's actually Selma's, wasn't it? It's the Ace that's coming in, being that Hibana is banned out, of course. Rise upstairs has got himself a little peek hole opened up onto the corridor there, and that's something that Rogue certainly need to be aware of, and this is something that we've been questioning about the drone. He's looking down onto the kitchen door from logistics, and it can be a tough spot to move in and challenge from, but we have seen it done before. Now then, better droning. We can see better droning. Out comes the nade. Forces Rise away for the time being, at least. His attention's going to turn to the hatch there. He knows that he needs to get out of things. He's on the Oryx, so it's more than possible for him to alter that soft wall and rotate. Takes a shot. Does a little bit of damage, but once again, it's just a chip on either side.
He can still hang around here as well. They've committed 2 frag grenades in and barely taken anything away from Rise. Yes, a little bit of trip damage onto Cryan as well. So between the 2 sides, that comes out as an absolute win for the defenders of Wager. You've got a minute left. They haven't been able to clear out these players that they want to up on the top floor. Rise still looking to cause a bit of trouble with potentially a late round flank, and 4 hanging on site. The only real solace they've got is Liam being here at the top side of Dirt, means they can get Blue and Dirt, go for a plant just inside of Armory if they want, and with 40 seconds left, there is plenty of time to do so.
2 versus 4 as the bodies start to fall. All the favour going towards Rogue on the attack at the minute. Bibu on an absolute sliver of health, a breath away from death from him on the Malusi. The diffuser starts to go down. Rips is looking like he's likely to stick this. Bibu tries to step out, shut down by Aces with a headshot, and all of a sudden Cactus finds himself in a 1 versus 4. He's got the Alder in hand, which is certainly the weapon that you want for this kind of situation, but he needs to start finding bodies, and he needs to find them soon. We've got Red Pings coming out to try and assist him, just give him any information that they can, but right now Rogue know exactly where this last player is located, and they're just waiting for the movement to come through. The shots find him through the soft wall, and it's going to be Rips to finish things off for Rogue, and that is 1-0 and a good start.
What about new look Leon as well? Shaved his hair off. He was on Twitter earlier on saying, hey, something's changed here, and indeed all of his
Maybe
hair.
that's what they needed.
Hopefully it's not like Hercules where he loses all of his power now that he's cut his hair.
That's Samson.
Same thing to me.
Okay.
Hopefully, either way for him, it's a good game, because Leon has been one of those players that you look back at historically. I think he actually had it come out on Twitter. Someone posted it the other day. He is the most aggressive player that we've got. I don't think it's just an EU. It might even be in the world. I think it was like his time alive or something was one of the less. Like, he dies the earliest in the round out of most players. Looking back at historical stages, he was one of the most aggressive players in terms of entry kills and entry deaths. It wasn't so much that he was going like 20 and 4 on the entry. He was consistently like 18 and 18, always around the same sort of level or just slightly negative. So I'm always keen to see if he finds that form, that old form that he once had, where he is a prolific gunner on the entry, giving teams something to think about. He has kind of struggled to find that on this roster at points.
Heading into round 2 then, it's going to be a defence of gym and bedroom this time, switching across to that west side for Vitality, not wanting to double down and go for Church and Arsenal back to back. They're going to move away for the time being and just try somewhere else. Interesting that it's not CCTV and Cash as their second choice of site, but we will see.
Send them on the twist, mate. That's it.
We will see how Rogue manages to attack this one. They were very good last time around, managing to find those early kills, get themselves man advantage and push forward well. Now, I can see, again, early attention being paid there. They took a little bit of damage on the early peaks last time around, so this time, very careful, shooting out those windows and making sure it's not the case again.
I always think those chance shots that you just take through a window, we've seen them connect onto heads before. It's been incredibly unfortunate timing on the defender's side. Very fortunate for the attackers, but sometimes you can get a cheeky kill or two. But it also does already make the defender start thinking, well, someone's nearby here, got to be more cautious in how we move between sites, be wary of those longer angles that could pick us off, for example. And for Rogue here, it's going to be a hard focus coming in onto the Jacuzzi wall. We speak about this site a lot and say normally you want some control inside a CC. That gives you the west window control across the south balcony, and then you can start playing on the south side too. More angles to attack from. Defenders are more restricted. It's quite ABC-esque, I guess, quite simple to think about it when you put it in that sort of terms. But here their big focus is on the west. They've got it opened up. Bibu's still lurking out towards the east. He could make a flank a bit later on if Rogue do rotate playing down on the gym balcony. That's what they've got to be wary of in my mind.
The Selmas will activate then as the mute jammer is shifted. Cactus looking to potentially relocate that one. The hot tub wall is going to be open. Toxic Babe canisters deployed to try and just slow down the push of Rogue. And that tells you a little something about how Vitality are feeling now, and they're feeling under pressure given that they're just outside of the first minute. First kill once again, Leon this time finding the headshot onto P4 as he is able to work on those south side windows because of the control they've got over CCTV. Now, they need to be careful for a moment as Bibu has stepped out there, but Leon's well aware. It's almost as if Bibu was baited in there, Des.
Had him on drones the whole time as well. They knew when he was pushing, Ritz could contest to scare him, and as soon as he steps up, they bring him down for free. Rise, bring him one back at the very least, make it 2 as Shinka gets another. It was a 3 versus 3 momentarily until Crime finds another. Cactus from inside a secret, oddly named, is going to find one for himself, and this time it full bores down with about 50 seconds left into a 2 versus 2 ace. So it's calmed down ever so slightly, but think about, for example, the Banshee stuck on the other side of that doorway. It's going to inhibit any attackers from pushing in towards Shinka. Not that they would want to, because you've got the attackers kind of coming in from this northwest side, the 2 defenders out towards the southeast, and Cactus, they must know that he's in secret. That call-out must have come through. Wins one, Shotgun at the ready, goes to the second onto the man on main stairs, holding back for just a second as the defenders start to set themselves up here for a 2 versus 1. This is the kind of fight that you don't see yourself losing, Ace, against Corey.
Absolutely not, especially with a shotgun in hand as well. Corey does well to actually just lengthen the engagement there when going up against that shotgun, but it doesn't matter because Cactus had already flipped back to the SMG, which was much better at the range that he was going to take that engagement at, and he manages to find that final kill, shutting it down for Vitality and levelling things up 1-1. Now, we knew that this was likely to be a fairly close matchup. These are two teams that have seen themselves drop off in form over the last couple of play days and really need to just improve themselves here, and they're both looking to do it. They're both going to be fighting hard, and so far it's even spoils inside of this one apiece. CCTV and Cash will be the next site for Vitality.
Even Stevens would call that in the UK, Ace.
It certainly would.
Even Stevens. Yeah, this is now the third site they're going to, and we said in the previous round, it feels a bit weird to go to Gym and Bedroom and not CC. That is one of the more popular sites on the map. Gym and Bedroom often considered the off-site. Here, at least for Vitality, not to be the case. Now we get to see how things shape up, and we saw some really creative defenses coming out of G2 earlier on today against BDS. The mirror windows, for example, coming into the CC breach. BDS had 3-man holds of garage, so there's been a little bit of variety today already. I can't imagine, at least in the first defensive round, you'll see anything too chaotic coming out of Vitality, given their lineup. This looks to me like, plain and simply, you're going to see an Evil Eye placed at the back of CC on the west wall. You'll see Bandit trying to Bandit trick onto the east breach, and maybe also some of those placed down on towards the cash wall, but nothing that should be too surprising.
P4 then working over on the master side. Just going to scoot down those stairs again. Has a nitro in hand. Could look to play on the stage just underneath construction. The hatch is open, so there is the potential to use that to try and deny any hard breach if we get the thermite or the ace in there trying to open up the construction wall. That can be shot off from underneath, and there's also the potential, of course, for those vertical kills using the nitro as well. Now, Rips, he's up there ready on that east wall to try and get things going, try and get it opened up. But look at the amount of utility that's been supplied here to try and keep Bibu in place. They're trying to keep him protected from grenades, but with the Thatcher on there, this is going to be a difficult job because he's got to be ready to take those bandit batteries off and replace them. Now, he's done a great job there. Can he get the second? Yes, he gets the exothermic. We can see the EMPs raining in, but Bibu doing an amazing job. He's potentially just going to start juggling that bandit to try and keep it alive for longer, and it certainly looks like they might just have dropped back for the time being here, Rogue.
This is normally where you want a man in below, inside a lounge, for example, blowing out underneath where that's where the bandit's playing. You've got the Zofia playing already outside on the side of stock, and really what you want is Corey inside here with the drone on side to help him out to make sure he's not going to get picked off as soon as he steps in. And from just inside that stock doorway, you can blow the floor out and remove the bandit player, force them to step back, but clearly the appetite here is a little bit limited, a little bit restricted. Not sure why they're being so passive about it, because now you've burnt yourself all the way down. You've got 1 EMP left and 1 exothermic left to play with. They're just about to use that one as well, so they're going to say Hail Mary, and here we go. This is what I meant. Corey's got inside, he'll blow it out there, force a step away. The wall is guaranteed to be opened. Much better from Rogue.
Certainly is, and it was looking like they might not actually manage to achieve that with how well Bibu had played it, but nonetheless, Rogue have stepped back, took a breath, had a think, and they've got the problem solved. Now open up lower garage now and try to push in and clear out catwalk, but they need to be conscious of the time. 1 minute 8 seconds left on the clock, and there's still a lot of work for them to be done. We commented how we've been seeing that east breach opened up within the first minute quite often recently, and as it stands at the minute, there was significantly more time burnt by the defence of Vitality. Shinka, he's just going to be feeding information, and Red Ping's back in to rise up on that catwalk to try and help him make the challenge onto lower garage.
Yeah, I mean, they want to get off catwalk here pretty much now. Ace is the one underneath as well, goes to the head. How does he miss those shots? No way has he got away with that. Somehow, Rise is basically untouched. Finally gets needed out by Crime, forcing us into the 5 versus 4. This is all at 30 seconds to go, though. The fact that the opening kill has come at that 30-second mark means this is going to be a very bloodthirsty final 20 seconds or so. P4, 1 back onto Rips, into the 4 versus 4. Vitality have just got to hold on here. If they can beat back the aggression, they can win it out. But Aces finds 1 onto P4. This means the to sight is now momentarily clear as smoke starts to rain around. Leon is going to push a little bit deeper here, try and go to the doorway. They call to go for kills. They run into Bibu, who finds one. Does he get the other? No, he doesn't. Cryin finds the kill, and Rogue take round number 3.
That's a great round for Rogue to take. An absolute steal, considering how well that east wall was played and how much time it wasted for them on the attack. Still being able, almost BDS-esque there, Des, just getting in at the end. And you know what? Other things aren't working. Let's just rush into sight and get those kills that we need. And that's the sort of confidence that we haven't seen Rogue playing with all too much lately. So nice to see that coming out. Working much better as a team today. Plenty of information ahead of them. Good drone use. All good so far from them.
The other little thing that you'd like optimise in terms of their push in that previous round into CC, but nothing that you're really going to cry spilt milk over, I don't think. The funny thing is, I remember at SI we spoke about NIP a couple of times, you and I, and we had a conversation about these pushes at round ends, remember? Where, for example, Psycho a couple of times had the diffuser inside a catwalk, would vault in the window and then charge straight at Castro, and we were saying, well, why not just plant? There's no C4s to stop you, just go for the plant. And I think they're because they were in the dying few seconds and hadn't burnt through all the utility, there was still a smoke canister left. They knew if they get one smoke canister in a good place, they ruin our plant, we lose the round, end of story. So they made that really high pressure, risky call in the final 5 seconds to forget plant, go for kill, go for kill. They all flood in towards Cash, and yes, Leon loses his life. If they'd been a second or two slower, that would have been the round going the way of Vitality, but they do get that closing kill in the red rotate. So good stuff coming out of Rogue, sure. High pressure, high risk, high reward, whatever you want to call it. It works out for them either when they get round number 3 into round number 4. In terms of the lineup coming out of Vitality, again, seeing this kind of Mute Mozzie pairing that we've talked about so often here, imagine you're going to see at least P4 and Shinka out and about on the map.
Cryin going to take up a long angle for the time being, get rid of the default cam before moving in towards the map with the sledge. He's going to just be very, very careful of those doors and windows, which is rightly so because we've already seen back in round 1 P4 taking some early aggression towards Rogue, but it certainly hasn't put them off. They're definitely sharp on their game today. They're not going to be caught out by any easy manoeuvres like that. So round 4 has taken us back down to the Church and Arsenal. Now, Rogue are very aware that there is a presence up on the top floor, so they're going to look to move and clear that out as quickly as they can. To be honest, minute and a half, 2 minutes, not too much of a problem, so long as they get that job done, take a few lives with them, and then head towards the site.
Absolutely, as long as, like you say, you don't burn too much time up here, it's not going to be an end of the world. Rise, the one currently holding literally right up against the Jacuzzi breach, trying to get rid of Rips' drone, but can't quite finish it off. It is good diligence coming out of Rogue. I know the joke on the desk was they don't really drone. A couple of times their droning has been a bit of miss, have missed the occasional rotate, for example, and then been bit in the backside by it. At least here, it's forcing the members of Vitality back down to site. All 5 now back on site. Of course, you've got to be mindful of Rise on the Oryx with that hatch hopping ability that he's got. So keep an eye on that one. But outside of that, they've done the due diligence. Just got to start opening up the floor now and start thinking about the execute.
And there goes the stock hatch into blue corridor, which will make that more difficult to hold. We've got walls being opened up absolutely everywhere here. Stage wall opened up. We've got the kitchen corridor wall opened up from bar. That's going to provide some nice angles down into site, which is going to increase that vertical pressure. Cryin just clearing out utility as he goes. And Rogue pretty confident here that they have got control of the map. They're going to start trying to raise pressure in sight. It's about getting a kill or two here and being ready for that last 20 to 30 second execute. We can see Cactus, P4, Rise all on the blue and Church side of things. Now, Aces has managed to get himself down the main stairs as well. He's in a position to think about opening this wall potentially, although he doesn't have any Selmas left, so it is going to be down to Rips to do that. Now then, free kill for Aces as he finds the back of Rise, but will be traded out by P4. 35 seconds left to go, and the bodies have started to fall.
Yeah, they didn't know he was going to be on the downstairs, but if anyone's going to swing out onto a player trying to go aggressive, that's a great grenade coming out of Cryin, by the way. But I was going to say, if anyone's going to go aggressive for a trade, it's going to be P4. The Crouch Walker supreme of this map, it feels like. Great shot from Corey onto Bibu, goes for the second, but Shinka wins it out. It's trades galore between these two teams, but Rogue, again, have the numbers advantage. One is down, Cactus, it's him, a one-man army with that Aldrich, may as well be an army of 100. Goes for the flank, sees the pings coming through, but they don't know about the man. Plant's going down, a temporary 2 versus 1, but can't find anyone. This will turn back into a 3 versus 1 post plan. Shots come through, and Leon's going to convert that into a round win for Rogue again.
Rogue looking pretty good so far. getting their second win down on Church and Arsenal, what should be one of the most defensible sites here on Clubhouse, but Vitality unable to lock it down at the minute. And like I say, Rogue just looking like a slightly different team today. Round number 5 is going to see us go back down there for Vitality. I think at this point, Des, there's not too much point changing around because their only other option is gym and bedroom, realistically. I know Hap will be screaming for bar and stock in the background. But the only realistic option for them other than Church and Arsenal is gym and bedroom here. And they fared no better there. So really, you might as well take a second bite at this one. Go back to Church and Arsenal. If it doesn't work out, take your final defensive round up to CCTV and cash. But right now, Vitality need to get something started and quickly.
I don't want to be the killjoy here or the one to kind of rain on Rogue's parade, but the last 2 rounds were won in those kind of dying moments where it was right, we're all pushing in together, boys, let's go for it. Yes, they planted in that previous round, but it was, when I look at it that way, a massive rush to have 3 players pushing down main and all going in together. If the Maestro had flanked 5 seconds prior, that was probably at least 2 kills for himself, and Shinka then could have taken the 1 versus 1 to take the close if he really wanted to. How it would have played out, the previous round to that, round number 3, was about that dying 5 or so second push. This nade, by the way, with P4 tucked into the corner, really nice as well. Beautifully placed right in front of him.
Really is, look at that.
Not just that, but also got rid of some utility, the Banshee being removed, which could have inhibited them if they went for a moto push. So really well placed.
Put it onto a dime there, Crying. Absolutely wonderful play. So this is now the testing, isn't it, of Msteria. She said as we came in that the first 3 to 4 rounds were going to be extremely important for Rogue, and we will see just how right she was here, because right now they feel like they're carrying a lot of confidence. This is their opportunity to close it out, and I think the point was valid that, had they come in and been beaten up a bit by Vitality in the first few rounds, it wasn't going to be easy for them given the last couple of weeks they've had. Resilience probably isn't the top of the list of abilities at the minute, and that's not to say that they never are a resilient team. It's just the way that things have gone over the last couple of weeks. It's going to be easy for that mental game to be affected by a bad couple of rounds.
We'll see if it transpires as the game goes on. Again, I'll reference the game. My God, words are so hard at gone 10:30 at night. I don't know what's going on today. Let's slow it down. Rogue, let's not forget against Secret, were 4-0 up. They had that timeout, referring to Secret here, and suddenly the tides completely turned on them. I'm not saying Vitality will call a timeout and suddenly this is magically going to fix itself. I think if you're Rogue and you're coming out of this first half with 3 rounds on the board, you're absolutely buzzing with that, and you will not mind going into the defensive side, even at 3-3. But with how things have been going on their side, I think you're definitely thinking here, we can really press on for this. We can make it a 4-2 on the half if we wanted to. Maybe not by doing that. They wanted to play for the trade. I get it. We've seen that kind of thing before. I think we saw Na'Vi do the same on this map against a team. I forget who it was. They were defending on blue and they would just swing around with a drone and get the kill. But here they commit to try and play for a trade and pay the price.
It was great movement from Rise. That's what kept him alive there. Just that little juke as he knew that the second attack was coming in, and he managed to sidestep it and just move in and get that second kill. It was great play from him and exactly what Vitality needed after the first few rounds that they've had. 3-2 won't look too bad to them at all, but there is still work to be done here. It is 3 versus 5. They have got a strong man advantage, and coming into the final minute, there's a lot of work to be done. But Aces, he manages to find Bibu underneath the hatch there and then will complete the job. It does take 2 Selma devices to open that one up. He will get the second one on there and complete it, opening that kitchen hatch, and then Rips is just going to give them the option of moving down Dirt Tunnel as well. 45 seconds left on the clock.
It's also, again, that phantom pressure I always speak about now, because Shinka will be sitting there in dirt thinking, okay, that's open. They could come put cushion down here at any time. And the fact that you've got the drone also coming in only signifies even more so they're thinking about this push here. They want to know what's going on. It's almost like if they can keep Shinka pinned in here because of the constant fear of someone coming and pushing in, that could play out massively for them. Instead, it looks like they are going to go for a rotate here with one trying to push down dirt. You've also then got the rest trying to look at a kitchen drop. It is 3 versus 4. Rogue are at a disadvantage, but they can balance that out with a cheeky nade kill. Not quite going to connect. But thinking about it, 15 seconds, Ace, it's got to happen right now.
It certainly does. P4 is going to hold his angle for the time being. In comes the yellow ping, all the information that he needs. That's actually Rise that finds the kill, so that's going to take him onto a triple. P4 flips to the pistol and finds his man. Crying shuts one down, but it's all going to be down to time. There is absolutely nothing that the 3 remaining members of Rogue can do about that one in round 5. It was just too big a loss at the beginning, and maybe a little bit of a misplay, we've got to say there, Des, from the 2 Rogue players running in. They really expected to take Rise out of blue, and if they'd lost one man for it, not the end of the world because it's such a power position, but Rise being able to sidestep and get both of them and run away with his life, it was just too big a price to pay.
this is the difficulty, right? And I was thinking about this earlier on in one of the rounds, actually. I thought if it had gone this way, we'd say it was a genius play out of Rogue. Because they lost, it was a genius play Vitality, or vice versa. If Rise had died there to the first man, you'd be saying, oh, okay, he's getting a little bit aggressive there, being a bit cheeky on blue stairs. The fact that he killed 2, it's a masterclass play, and he's done absolutely wonderfully. There is such a fine margin between a brilliant play and an absolute mess up when it comes to plays in Siege sometimes, I feel. And for Rogue, we'll look at that and go, how the bloody hell have you committed 2 men and not got the trade on there? Sure, a mechanical misplay by them, but a few pixels to the left or the right for someone's crosshair, and suddenly we're having a very different conversation. Some rounds, it will just go against you like that, and once you've lost 2, you're into that, 5 versus 3 as Vitality. It's really hard to throw one of those away.
It is indeed, and they didn't on that occasion. They were able to lock it down and get another round onto the scoreboard. So the tight game that we had continues here, and we go back to CCTV and Cash, and this actually plays into Vitality's favour. Up until that last round, it was the only site that they had managed to successfully defend, and this is the first opportunity they've had to come back here. So if they're able to shut it down again, then it levels things up 3-3 at the half, and for all the good work that Rogue have done, it may well be that Vitality can start to get into their head a little bit. Now, with 20 seconds in, we've got immediate progress towards that East Breach. It took them a little while to get it open last time, especially considering that they've got the Thatcher on board. Now, they do have Bibu on the side of Vitality once again playing on that wall. He's going to be trying to bandit trick. He did a great job of it last time, so we'll see whether he can be as successful here, or can Rogue get that wall opened up a bit more efficiently.
You know what this map really needs, Ace? It needs a Bibu no moment, especially on your birthday. It's deserving of one.
Every
really,
map needs one of those.
Every
moments.
map needs a laser gate, a Bibu no. There's so many things that we could say. But look, this time round, rather than faffing around, we're trying to trick this out.
He's going on the middle.
He's got Thori below. This is it. There you go. That's the trick. Wait, what? That is so big brain. Oh my god. That is unbelievable. That is like, rather than going for the bandit trick on the wall, he says, right, they're going to open it. I can't stop this. But last round, Corey got below, open up the floor. I'm just going to kill him as soon as he goes to the push. It took me 2 seconds to compute what had just happened. I was like, has he just debated everyone, including us, by not bandit tricking? Genius play, Bibu.
Nope, he
Bibu,
didn't.
yes!
Bibu, yeah! Let's go. Great kill from him, and that takes the Zofia off the board. The east wall was open, but you'd argue that that is a high price to pay, losing the man advantage. 5 versus 4, and out go the ADSs. Great placement of the EMP, but P4, he's able to shut Aces down. 5 versus 3, and Vitality have got themselves a good advantage, and for all the great placement of that EMP, there was no attempt first time around to shut Rise down. Crying, however, showing his ability with those explosives on a second great nade kill for him inside this game. 4 versus 3, 55 seconds, plenty of time for Rogue, but they could do with another kill here.
One more would be nice to get things rolling, I think. You might struggle to find it at this point, given how the round has been going, because Rogue, on this push forward now, yes, at a numbers disadvantage, but have got the positional advantage they're looking for with good time to play. I really doubt you get away with sticking a plant here. I mean, yeah, sure, there's only one C4 on side. There's still 2 Pokeballs to play with as well. And Leon trying to play the bait game here might force another smoke coming out of Cactus. He's still got 2 more in back pocket, but Leon go kill apparently was the command into red, and finds one before Bibi puts him down. Rips the next one to fall to Cactus. Yes, I agree with you now, Ace. This round should be pretty much done and dusted. Cryin has got to work some magic. There's a man to the left that he doesn't know about here who could step out at any moment, and there he goes. P4 finding the kill. Vitality balancing things back at 3 apiece.
Easy close out there for Vitality. Brings them level. Now, there's questions to be asked about the possibility of the diffuser going down and being activated there, of course. I'm not going to say that necessarily it was an easy option. There was still toxic babe canisters. There was still utility to prevent it.
C4 impacts, yeah.
Loads. You know, it certainly wasn't a straightforward option. My question more is, Leon pushes forward and gets the 1 kill onto the top of red stairs. Is it then maybe a little bit too much aggression too soon to push onto that rotation into Cash? Could maybe do with backing up a little bit of noise from CCTV door maybe, rather than more of a sort of solo aggression.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that point as well. I mean, in the case that you step forward and get that kill on red, you're almost hoping that the other team haven't yet had time to communicate. Oh, red, 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 red. And I know that sounds like a real simple thing to say. I've just died. There's a guy in red. Cool. You wouldn't believe the number of times that someone kills someone and there is no call out that I've just died from this angle, and then a second or a third person also dies from that angle at the same time. It can get real messy, real hectic at points. So you just never know in those situations. That was the risk that Leon took, and unfortunately, it didn't pay off. Rogue now, though, get to switch onto the defensive side. They're starting out inside of the basement. And again, like so many teams are doing, I'm actually quietly very excited for Jess's segment next week about defender pick rates. I don't want to go and look at any stats, so don't spoil me, Ace.
I won't.
But all I'm going to say is, Mute and Mozzie, they're going to be really up there.
They might be.
Alongside Jaeger, of course.
They might be. They might not be.
I reckon Jaeger and Smoke are up there top 3. Mute, Mozzie are definitely like top 5.
I don't think Smoke's top 3.
Is he not?
I won't double check and spoil it for you. I'm literally going off memory from a couple of days ago.
You've teased me.
I do know that 2 of who you've said are very highly picked, but Smoke I'd have to double check on. So we're moving in here, and we've got Shinka just applying the Claymore mine there, just to prevent the flank into strip, interestingly.
You're trying to justify this in your own head while you're saying the words. I know exactly how you feel.
Yeah.
That's more of a late round prevention. I think if he now moves on from there, it's going to stop someone trying to get cheeky onto a run out, for example, when someone's on the garage repel. That's the only real reason I could think of.
But they're attacking Church and Arsenal.
I don't know, Tim. Maybe they decide garage repel.
I can't see a garage repel coming out here, is my point.
Very fair. That's the cheekiest shotgun blast coming out in the world, but it's like a drive-by with a shotgun. I love it.
It was very nice, and it will take Rise off the board, leaving us 5 versus 4. A good start for Rogue on the defence, and it allows them to keep themselves out in the map for longer, which is exactly what they will want. Now, Corey, he is on the Mozzie, and he is still active on the top floor inside of CCTV. I would suggest they know where he is, seeing as a few shots have been sort of just landed in there through that wall. Now, out comes the Nitro. P4 manages to move just in time. That announces Corey's presence, but he manages to get one as he strafes across that hole that was opened up in the soft wall. 5 versus 3. They can't deal with the top floor, Des. They can't deal with the roam.
This is the battle of this setup. You can't drone them out comfortably because of the Mute and the Mozzie, so you're forced to take a direct gunfight, and you just don't know where in that room the aggressor has moved on to, or the aggressor, in this case, the defender, although they are kind of being aggressive on the top floor. You've got some reliance there, and knowing that's a great shot from Bibi, by the way. Gets the head peek onto Cryin, and down he goes, not without taking a little bit of damage himself, mind you. In comes Corey going aggressive, and this is why you have to clear the top floor. They've ignored what's going on elsewhere, and Corey has just taken storage off them and killed a man in the process. 2 kills to the Mozzie, 1 to the Mute. That is why this SSG roam is so brilliant.
It really is, and ultimately Corey is shut down, but not before he's done more than his fair share of the work here in round 7. We've got only Shinka and Bibu left. They do have the utility that they need. They are the Thatcher Thermite combo, so they will be able to open up anything that is required. They're going to opt for hatches and try and get some vertical angles to maybe pick up a cheap kill or 2 into sight, but they are running out of time with which to do so. 25 seconds, and they're going to be playing into an entrenched trio of the Rogue team inside of sight now. They're just going to hold their patience and wait for these last attackers to push into their lines of sight, and that's exactly what Rips is doing. He gets the ping. He knows that the push is coming from blue. He pops up and finds the first ace on the Nitro for the second, and Rogue, they close out their first defensive round successfully.
Nice shot, Corey. I'm sure it was a fantastic shot, Corey. In your own mind, and apparently of no one else's. However, for Rogue, that is the start they wanted to the defensive half. Keep that momentum kind of building. After Vitality got a bit of a fight back on their defensive side, for Rogue to start getting something back is a great start. And you guys have to excuse me if the camera cuts to us just now as my coffee is removed from the table, and we'll come back to us for just a second while we get this rehost sorted out. But again, that momentum kind of swung back towards Vitality in the first half, and then Rogue have had a really good... To get one of them, I want to get a little cone, I want to get some streamers, a little party popper, give you a little hat to put on your head as well. It would have been wonderful.
Oh, it would have been absolutely fantastic.
Either way, the only birthday present you're getting, unfortunately, from us is this game. Let's see how things close out then. Rogue, we're back in, are at 4-3 on the defensive half of Clubhouse after a good 3-3 first half. CC going to be the next site that they step into. Both teams have had a bit of time to have a chat, and Rogue have gone towards a more defensive setup in this round. I'm looking here specifically towards the Jaeger and the Wamai. That screams to me, if anything else, Ace, we want to hold garage.
It certainly does. You know, absolutely. Like you say, they've got the reinforcements, they've got the utility that they need. They've done it previously. They've done it you know, previously when we've seen them play this map. So we've got a mute jammer up at the top of the garage there. The ADSs are going down, so that's just going to all stack towards trying to keep Crying alive if he's going to be the one to play out there, although it could alternatively be Leon on the Wamai. If you're going to be reliant on those magnets, then you want to be able to replace them as they are taken out, but it could be that they're used for another area which allows the freedom of having multiple ADSs on the catwalk without losing them elsewhere.
Like a trail of like Hansel and Gretel sweets being laid out up there, didn't it? There's a mute jammer, an ADS, another ADS, magnets up there as well. It's like an IQ's heaven, just be able to walk through and pick those off one at a time and see the points stick up. Look at that aggressive peak coming out from Leon. Now, that's just not something that you really see. A player going hyper-aggressive out of cash door, picking up the on the Wamai of all things as well that has the recharge coming through. I mean, Leon likes his aggressive stats, and I think he wants to protect that record of being one of the most aggressive players in the game.
He certainly does at that point. I mean, he's going to lose over 75 health there, but having taken down the Zofia, that is a lot of utility gone from the attackers and a lot of ability to burn defensive utility as well. So we're going to have the EMP coming in. Out comes the nade, and this is all just looking to try and support this wall getting open. But again, Bibu, he dips away. Still got his exothermic in hand, but I think there's at least one been burnt here, Des, possibly. The
reason why Corey's still alive, thanks to Leon, as soon as the first EMP came out, the Wamai magnet came out, caught the frag grenade as it got thrown from the part of that just outside garage. Really smart play, kept the man alive, keeps the wall closed for a bit longer. Vitality is stalling out. We're 90 seconds in and they still can't get these walls opened up.
They can't. Bibu's going to apply. That's pretty much going to get the job done as Corey has now gone to play underneath, but he's looking potentially. I don't know if he's got the floor opened up underneath there, Des. We're just so crouching underneath the wall there. I think he may have run away from it. I don't know if he was just trying to catch somebody on that breach as they maybe tried to get aggressive and push in. But for the time being, Rise is established with one other inside of construction, and this is going to provide a nice pinch attack now. But Bibu still hasn't got that wall opened up.
You can't. Is it mute jammed? Like, what? Why isn't it open? He's had it, like, he had the exothermic on it earlier and it didn't open up. Maybe he'll try again now.
There we go. I think it was maybe just waiting for the right time.
Oh, there we go. Rise was the one hanging on the doorway and steps out at the right time, catches out onto Leon, knows there's one more in red, but can't quite find Rips, who's still got all three smoke babes left to use. So can stall out for a good 30 seconds here or so. That can be painful as they try and make their push forwards, but it looks like it's going to be this cash take coming through, Ace.
It does. Bibu's on the rappel and looking to hold a long line of sight through there. Maybe try and apply some pressure to Garage Catwalk. Look at this. Vitality going straight into sight. There's a kill goes either way, but there's two big kills on the top of red stairs there from Shinka. Diffuser going down. There's nothing Crying can do as Vitality level us up once again 4-all now. And this continues to be a close game. And quite right to have been picked as the game of the night so far. We are turning into a real barn burner here.
Barn burner, that good old word, meaning a game that goes to full distance. This seems to be something where I don't want to say curse with, but it does seem to follow us through a lot of games by the feeling of it, Ace. That was a very clean round from Vitality overall, I would wager. Also out of Rogue again, keeping the wall closed by having the magnet come out that caught the frag grenade that came through from the west window. Small things like that make a difference. else your bandit's dead there. You lose a C4, you lose the denial, for example. Vitality can move a little bit quicker in the round, and sure, ultimately they still win from cash, but in a different world, they go on to lose that round as a result of being stalled out on that wall for so long. Good stuff. We're going to gym and bedroom. Amira also being picked out here. So imagine you're going to see that getting set up here inside of logistics, looking down inside of construction.
So we've got the Maestro again now. We've had the Maestro brought along a number of times on the defense here and haven't seen too great an impact so far, I don't think. We've been seeing those Evil Eye cameras get dealt with very efficiently, generally speaking, not necessarily in this game, but across the board we've seen them quite regularly taken down now, particularly being targeted with nades and throwable explosives. So we'll keep an eye on those two. We've got one in either site, so it will be easy enough to see exactly what does or doesn't happen with them. We're just feeding information in as to potential plants or pushers. We've got one that we'll see towards logistics, especially when that wall is opened up. It's going to give a view right through. And the other is going to look onto hot tub wall. So whilst they might look like they're in a position to just cover off those sites, the lines of sight that they're taking advantage of are actually much longer now than Aces.
Yeah. Now then Aces.
Aces.
Yeah, I thought you had something to say then. When you go, now then, Aces. It sounds like you're starting a sentence.
Oh.
If we're waiting for aces, we can sit here and wait for
I was sort of hoping he might be getting aggressive on a little run out or something. I'd have given a dramatic pause as he crashed through the barricade and got himself some kills, which he tries to do, but unsuccessfully, missing his shots, but finds one on the fadeaway. Takes the head off a rise as he strafes past that door and back to safety. I knew it was coming, Des. The pause was just too long for me.
You should have held on for the 20 seconds or so, mate, and you may have got your wish. But yeah, another kind of air quotes drive-by kill, same as in the first defensive round they had. He was upstairs inside a gym, found that drive-by shotgun kill onto Rise inside a bedroom. It's wonderful to see. You always like it when, I think, like Jess said on the desk earlier on, you like it when you see Aces back on his kind of form, hitting the shots that he needs to be hitting. I'll never forget him terrorising teams last year back in Stage 1 when Rogue had a great stage, finishing top of the tables after all. Him getting like 4Ks inside of Oregon with the Maestro was unbelievable to watch, and as we know, they all fell off a little bit when it came out to Stage 2, and still fighting now to get back into that form. Corey being forced out of bathroom by the Selma coming out. At least here, another kill coming through onto Corey as well. That spot is deadly today. Grenade from below, guns coming in from the breach. Just don't play between those two walls. It's not healthy.
Absolutely. P4 looking to get aggressive on that hot tub wall. Just dips himself back a little bit and out comes the drones. Now then, smoke grenade onto the CCTV window that's going to prevent Cryan from being able to have a look across that south balcony. Whilst P4 goes in and gets aggressive, he's going to take the Banshee off the wall. He's getting spotted out by the Maestro cam, but there's nothing that Leon can do to respond as he was obviously experiencing pressure from elsewhere. P4's just walking through sight at will here, getting kill after kill. Bibu finishes us off, but Vitality have got P4 to thank for that round.
I mean, you've got to ask questions. He did this before. I remember mentioning earlier on about him being the crouch walking Ash, for example, on this map. I'll never forget, I think it was against Secret, where he drops into blue, all the way through basement, goes through into Armory, out into the hallway, then into church, and kills 3 or 4 people on his march through. That round had the same sort of vibes. When you have a Maestro sat on construction door, he walks into bathroom, kills 1, proceeds to vault into Secret, kills another. You're sitting there asking, what the hell is the Maestro doing? Like, this is your kill to get. He's just walked through the middle of sites, killed 2 members of your team, completely torn you in half, and then the rest of the Vitality members have picked up the rest of you. This is where P4 is dangerous, I think, is he is such an explosive player, and sometimes it falls flat on his face. He'll try and go aggressive, he'll try and make a play, and he'll lose out for it. But on those 1 in 3 rounds where it does work, he is like single-handedly winning them several rounds in this style, and that's been really enjoyable to watch throughout this stage. The first couple of play days when they were winning a lot especially was where it really shone through.
So we're going to be defending back down in Church, and Arsenal Rogue just choosing to rotate back down there, and it's been a little bit tough for them on the defence so far. Church and Arsenal back in round 7 is the only site that they've been able to get a win on so far. They've lost CCTV and lost Jim, so choosing to go back to that only successful location. If they can get this one on the board, it will guarantee us at least the full 12 rounds of this matchup. Once we get to 5-5, you're always going to play at least the last 2, and it will be down to one of these sides to try and go out and win both of those rounds. But there's not many mistakes left for Rogue here. Any mistake in terms of a round loss will leave them in a situation of overtime being the best that they can achieve. Now, Cactus is looking to push down the dirt tunnel, but Rips is lying in wait. He's got the Alder, he gets 1, he continues shooting. He's down the diffuser. Bibu's going to find Corey. P4 once again going into sight, but it's Rips who manages to get a kill onto Rise with the Alder again, and that leaves us 3 versus 3 very quickly.
Cryan with an easier swing of his life there, knowing that he was stuck in moto, that he retreated back down by pipes. But sure enough, Vitality have got a bit of control here. 2 versus 3. Still got to be able to push forward and make it work, and they need this player out of Church. They can't quite make it happen now. Shinka left entirely alone in a 1 versus 3. I think we know how these rounds tend to conclude out, Ace. They started well, a good bit of pace coming out. I was nervous when I saw the Ace stepping inside the dirt with all 3 of his Selmas still in the backpack, and that kind of half pseudo rush hasn't really paid off for them. Rogue should be able to neutralise things at 5-5.
I love to see this from Aces, just taking the opportunity there at 1 versus 3. He knows he's got plenty of time, so he opens up a bigger rotation that's going to allow long lines of sight into Church. He barricades the bottom of main stairs. He's just making life as difficult as possible for Shinka, because what's just happened there is Shinka's just given them a big audio alarm to say, I'm at the bottom of main stairs. And even if that push doesn't ultimately come in from there, it's just that information that's getting fed back in. They can think, right, he's not coming in through main stairs, but he's probably backtracked through bar. So what utility have we got there that can tell us, right, he's probably going to move through lounge, he's probably going to do this, and it just gives them that heads up, that information, that idea of where to watch from.
They've got the ideas here, if nothing else. I think, oh, look at that, he knows what's going on. You just got to wait for someone to peek onto the angle here, and I guess the big question is, are you going to see Aces step out and go for that? Looks like no for right now. He's laid down, all's daring him to step into blue. Rips apparently has the same sort of idea. I think because you didn't see the push coming into main, they know he's rotated off and is going to try something else. Steps over Barb, you can hear the sound, they know that he's there, must know there's one to the right, has no idea, he's dead, goodbye.
That's game. That's job done. So that leaves us at 5-0 on the scoreboard, and this one is going to a guaranteed 12 rounds. And honestly, I couldn't ask more from this. What a game that we're having. This is a fantastic one to watch. Only one team is going to get the opportunity to close this out and take the full 3 points, and this could be a really important 3 points. When you look towards the end of the stage, you can see Rogue and Vitality potentially fighting each other for similar spots in the league. So 3 points gained against the other could be massive in deciding that. We saw at the end of the last stage, stage 1, all those head-to-heads that were factored in on the last day. There was just so much in there where teams were drawing on points and could have that head-to-head decider. So a very important result on the board here.
Massively so. And I think what you're saying there about the two being close, I think most will probably come into this and say, realistically, Vitality are playing better than Rogue. Not so much in this game, but in general. You look back at their results, one week 2 against BDS of all teams to beat as well. They were playing out of their minds and looked absolutely phenomenal, and Rogue have kind of struggled the whole season long to get anything on the board, to be honest. But coming in, I think you're right. With the way this is going, the rest of the season now only being, 4 play days after today, you could see these two teams fighting for, I don't want to say like a bottom place finish, but definitely towards the bottom side of the table. They'll both be scrapping, I think, for position around there if this carries on. I personally thought Vitality would fight their way back into the top 4, and today would be the day that they reminded us of what it was that led to them beating BDS. Don't really feel like we've seen it just yet, though.
Now, interestingly, we've got the mirror window going onto that wall, and Pepe nearly loses his life. More interestingly, on the thermite, that would have been a big loss. But we've got the mirror window placed on that east wall. We saw it used earlier to great effect. Now, looking down the line of the defenders, we've only got 2 impact nades there for Leon, and he's going to have to keep himself somewhere in view of that mirror, because it could come down to his job to clear off those explosives from the eastern wall. We're going to have the EMP coming in. The window gets opened, and then the explosives will be used here to try and make sure that Bibu can't get that exothermic charge off successfully. As it is, he dips away from that. He doesn't want too much of that action at the minute. Cactus, meanwhile, opening up the lower garage. So this is, again, shaping up to be a very garage and east wall focused push from Vitality.
They need Shinka's EMP again. They're out towards garage. I think they're able to get that second one opened up. B1 was opened up, but there's still B2 to look towards here. Bit of a cheeky step out as Crime finds one, but instantly traded back, and Rise has found himself a 2K in garage. That's what you want to get this round underway. They've got catwalk control, they've got garage control in its entirety, and can now start thinking about, okay, what does a plant look like? Because they've got 100 seconds to play with still, Ace, and they're in a 4 versus 3.
There is time on their side, that much is for
C4.
sure. We're going to have the wall opened up here. That's almost a certainty. This is going well for Vitality here, Des. They've got the garage wall open, they've got the east breach open, they've got everything they need to get a plant down here. They've got 1 minute 20 to bait out utility. We've got a nitro and 2 impacts left. It's going to be difficult for anything to be done. As you can see, they just take a few steps back, and look at that for a kill onto Corey from Rise. We've had some absolutely wonderful shots, and that is a great example of the sort of quality that we're seeing inside of this game tonight. 5 versus 5 on the scoreboard, 4 versus 2 in terms of man count, and it looks for all their lives like Vitality are going to be the ones to get the opportunity here to have a match point. They've got the diffuser on Cactus ready to go down, and it will do so. Out comes the Toxic Babe. Cactus is forced away for the time being.
Rise
Leon gets
quad.
1, but Rise trades it out, and that's something Vitality have done very well well so far is to trade those kills out, and it all comes down to Rips now with 30 seconds.
Just give it to Raj. Just give him the full ace at this point. The man's absolutely tore Garage apart and torn Rogue a new one. Rips holding by himself, has the 2 smoke canisters, 20 seconds on the clock here. Could throw one more out, but look about the angle on the bomb if he knows about this one. Goes near, gets the spray down. No way can he close it out because Rise will do so, secures the ace for himself, and that's how Vitality move themselves up to match point. Rogue with one more shot at staying in this game.
Big problem for Rogue now is that they've only been successful down on Church and Arsenal as a site. They lost CCTV, they lost Jim last time around. So to keep themselves in this matchup, they have to do something. They have to win a site that they have previously lost. And it is not going to be easy for them because Vitality, they smell blood in the water right now and they are coming to take a bite out of Rogue if given the opportunity.
And that's the feeling that you get coming as well. Like, sure, it's been a little bit back and forth in the second half between them. First round, round 7 being won by Rogue, then 2 rounds to Vitality, then 1 back to Rogue, then 1 back to Vitality. It's hard to call which way that it goes, but given how Rogue played in the first half, I almost feel like they deserve that crack at overtime, to be honest. But what a team deserves and what they get can be 2 very different things. It's going to be the same site being attempted once again. Leon stepping away from the Wamai and now picking up the Echo, and Corey again staying on that Bandit.
On there, just continuing to reinforce those construction walls. It's going to be a full shutdown from that side. Sometimes we do see half left open to allow a challenge to go on through towards the bedroom, but it's not going to be the case this time around. East Breach is protected, and we know largely what to expect from this. But the problem for Rogue therein lies because Vitality have known exactly what to expect at every turn so far in this matchup when it comes to this site on the attack, and they've done a great job of it. The Yokai drone is going to be placed up on the garage roof, and maybe Rogue just think that can be the difference maker.
You look at it and think, oh, well, that's really exposed. Why would you put that in the open where someone can shoot it? And that's because, realistically, Vitality, when they're trying to get inside a garage, they are not going to have time to look at the ceiling. The only place they're going to be able to look is directly at the player on catwalk and put their attention there, or maybe towards lounge door in case they get pushed. The last thing you're going to have time to do is look around the ceiling and go, oh, is there a Yokai there? I guess we can shoot it. Not before your head is taken clean off your shoulders. So for Rogue, maybe it's a bit of bait being set up as well. There's a couple of things to think about there. I imagine, again, more it's the fact that they know it won't be caught out by the attackers, at least early on, unless they get full control of garage, by which time the Yokais are not so much useless, but definitely less effective anyway.
P4 on the drones, along with Rise, Bibu and Shinka. So heavy information phase here just at the end of the first minute for Vitality. They want to make sure that they've got all the ducks lined up. They want to know where everybody is before they start pushing in, looking for those kills. P4 following a drone in, looking for anybody you can catch out at the top of red stairs. Now, Aces is underneath, and I'm not sure if he's been picked up on the mute, but it's something they're going to need to be aware of. P4's drone certainly sees the vertical angle. Whether it manages to get the line of sight as a view down onto Aces or not, we will see. Time will tell, because if that mute isn't dealt with, it could be catastrophic when the Nitro gets put to use.
Oh, it's got the tiniest hole in the wall, in the wall possible to be able to just get through rooms here as well. At least giving it a little drive, but it's like a mouse hole almost coming out for the Yokai. Be able to rotate it around though. Leon shall be in charge of that one. Ace is playing on the downstairs. Just screams to me C4 denial is part of the play here. And Vitality, I really hope have got the presence of mind to deal with that. If left undisturbed, he could have a massive, profound impact on this round, especially later on.
Bibu's going to get that wall open now. I don't think there's too much that
he's ready
Corey can do about it, but there is. Corey reads him like a book and gets the bandit charge down there to take the exothermic off the wall. There's only one left for Bibu, so no more mistakes. And I don't think there's going to be another opportunity for Corey here, but still, good use of his utility. Dips away and now lives to fight. 40 seconds left to go. Here comes the final push from Vitality. If they want to avoid overtime, they have to win this here and now. And Leon, he is well safe down there and has the Yokai ready. But the first one at least is taken out. He has another.
There's another one ready and waiting indeed. If that could provide a big spoiler in the final 20 seconds or so, it could absolutely be the difference maker. I'm watching to see as well if Bibi manages to get himself down inside a stock, because he could kill Leon, assuming he's still on that window. But everyone is going for a push inside a cache. We've seen this one before. In they go, 4 members in, they find 1 kill. Tries to go for the second, but Rich trades it back. A 4 versus 4. Plants going down. Where is the yokai? I think here Leon could be in a spot to provide a difference. C4 comes out, stops. The yokai is there. It's the gun of the final blast. They get a replant down, but Leon alive inside a stock for the entire round is going to send us into overtime.
Bit of a problem for Vitality there in not picking Leon Gids up, allowing him to play his life down there on the Echo and just use those yokai drones to devastating effect at the end there to push us over that 3-minute timer and slap bang into overtime. So we are now on a best of 3 rounds effectively. The first team to successfully win 2 rounds will win the whole matchup. But Rogue start on defence. And they've struggled so far. They've been able to win Church and Arsenal, which I expect will be their first site of choice, which it is. But they will then need to get a successful round in CCTV. They're not going to get away with that Echo play again.
No. At least you'd hope they wouldn't in that case. But that was all about the denial. You saw the C4, then a few seconds later, the yokai blast coming out. That just screamed Rogue really wanted to play this heavy, not so much counter-take, but denial strat at the plant. They didn't care so much about being able to hold the site itself. So look, if you guys want to come and try and take it, then take it, go for your plant. We have enough tools to deal with you because you didn't go for the vertical clear. If they'd sent a man downstairs, for example, and dealt with Aces playing with the C4, I imagine a short walk into stock would have also revealed Leon being there, and potentially that's 2 big kills that could have saved the round for you, but the heavy focus on the cash push clearly was Vitality's demise. Now, between the 2 teams, they were both 3-3 at the half of their respective defensive halves. To me, it's pretty even Stevens looking across both sides. It's hard to call which way it goes, but like you say, I don't see a world in which Vitality get themselves stung by something like that again. They will deal with the vertical play. They will clear out any C4 players below. They'll go and hunt down the yokai player if there is an Echo. You can kind of use it once, but it would be absolute shame on them if they do let it catch them and trip them up a second time.
Cactus approaching quickly there. Big rotation being opened up. We saw that prepped last time, and so it was just a one-shot from Aces to take the whole piece out. It looks like he's done it at the beginning of the round this time around. It was opened up much later last time as a bit of a response to finding themselves in a 3 versus 1. But for the time being, Vitality paying the due diligence to the top floor, looking to clear it out. Cactus will start things off with a kill onto Crying, so that is a big start. Taking the Jaeger, and that is the start of the top floor clearance with Corey now dropping himself back down into bar. He's not going to hold on to that for too long, I don't think. Leon looking for an aggressive angle up onto the rooftop there. It's one of those that sometimes you just get away with because it's not a familiar angle, but Cactus, he manages to get another onto Corey, and this is going well for Vitality so far.
Yeah, the roamer up inside a start. Corey coming down main, I think it was, he came peeking down earlier on, has also been picked up. So those 2 kills are absolutely massive. All that inside the opening 60 seconds. A 5 versus 3 for Vitality with this much time to play. We've already seen this sort of setup before when they had Rise finding the ace in that one round when they pushed inside a CC from Garage. He collected everything in terms of kills, and they had so much time still to execute with. As long as they don't go too Hail Mary here and go too aggressive or solo play start coming out, this should be the kind of round that as Vitality, you can get the drones on, as you can see their pings coming out, get the drones in there, decide on the action of play that you want to take, and execute it as a team.
Raz then just holding angles for the time being. There's a lot of movement around the mid-floor from Vitality here, getting very mobile, but they know they're in no rush. 5 versus 3, 1 minute 15 on the clock, and they are well aware that they can just take their time. They can get themselves into advantageous and favourable positions before pushing to try and take these final kills. It is worth noting that Cactus is low health at the minute. He's only a bullet or 2 away from death, so needs to be careful. And there is the bullet right to the cranium as Leon manages to find the SMG shot onto Cactus. 4 versus 3 as we're coming into the last 45 seconds. The Toxic Babe canister's trying to slow the push down and just burn this one to a halt, but P4's got himself down to the bottom of Blue Tunnel, and I don't think there's anybody there to challenge him. He's also got Bibu on the Thermite with him, who takes a little bit of damage. 30 seconds left, and we're going to have a bloodbath here in Church and Arsenal.
They're stretched a little bit thin. They can't afford to have a player sitting entirely inside a blue, which is why Vitality have said, yes, thank you very much. We'll have 2 players players inside of there. That is the last smoke canister now ringing out from Leon, which means, as you say, these dying 15 seconds could turn into a bloodbath. That's an incredible shot coming out of P4. Leon finding
Big
another,
play.
making a third as he goes into Moto. Can he bring it all the way back? 2 versus 2, 10 seconds to play. We've been here before a couple of times. Rips loses out, but in comes Leon. Nothing left in terms of HP. He's on the flank, misses the guy by a second. That could have been the big difference maker. They must know about Leon and where he is. They see him through the soft wall. P4 connects the kill. Vitality will take round 30.
Leon was so close. There was a fraction of a second for him seeing the last man in Moto collecting the diffuser. And I tell you what, Des, if he sees that man and gets the kill, then that is round over, because with that high advantage playing down the hatch on the vertical, watching the diffuser, there's no way that it would have been turned around. But ultimately, that is all ifs and buts, because the only thing that did happen was Vitality. They got away with that one there, where they were able to close Leon down, shut him out, and that got them the round. 7-6. They take the first one in overtime. They need one more to win. This is another match point opportunity for Vitality. Can they close it out now, or will Rogue have a successful attack to begin?
Ooh, well, it must feel like a lifetime ago that Rogue were the ones on the attack. It was the first half where they started there. And for a while, they were at 3-1. We said, oh, wow, this is a really good start for Rogue. They could press on here, walk away with a much-needed win to keep themselves competitive in Stage 2. But it feels here like it might just be slowly slipping away. And yes, they'll get 1 point. You can see in the top right of your screen what will happen if Vitality do win this game out here and now. They move up ever so slightly into 5th place with the 2 points they walk away with. Rogue, they will lift themselves off the bottom of the table. I believe it would be Unknights who step down into 10th in that case. I mean, ultimately, the stage standings matter if you want to look at top 4 to get to the major, for example. But thinking about the overall standings in all of EUL for 2021, knowing that at the end of this stage, all eyes turn to the overall standings and knowing which teams are going to get auto-relegated. You finish in 10th place, you are auto-relegated, you don't even get to fight for your space. 9th, you have to face off against the 2nd place Challenger League team for your right to stay in. Rogue, they've already been there once, Ace. They had to fight off against M&M. They won comfortably, admittedly that, but afterwards, Leon said, that has been 3-4 months of stress building up on our shoulders. They don't want to go through that again, and that is why every single point that you can win now makes a difference.
Certainly does. Now, if we look back at the first half, it was 3-3 when Rogue were attacking, and Vitality were able to get a win on each of the sites. They won on Church, won on Gym, won on CCTV. They also lost on each of them. So looking back at what we've seen so far tonight doesn't really leave us any the wiser what to expect here. Sometimes they did a great job, Rogue, of clearing out the garage catwalk and taking the control that they needed, but others, they really struggled against Bibu. I'm particularly remembering, as you said, that one kill onto Corey underneath was an absolute beauty, and it looks like they're not going to try that one again. The lesson has been learnt, but
I mean, you say that.
But then again, how do they deal with the Bandit if they don't?
You can come in via stock rather, it's riskier admittedly, but coming in via stock, for example, can be one option rather than just pushing in straight away from storage out towards the right-hand side where the blue stairs are located. Corey's in. Bibu, is he going to really get away with this again? Surely he's not going to get away with it again. Surely he's not going to be able to kill Corey for a second time down the reverse angle. No, the concussions come out. Corey a little more passive and the wall gets opened up. So this time round, not punished for that.
Good for Rogue.
It's good for Corey.
It's good for Corey, it's good for Rogue. That's what they needed. He just used his brain a little bit and just took that out from a bit more of a distance. At the end of the day, the way those joists running horizontally to the floor below, it makes it very difficult to challenge in towards the top of blue stairs. So Corey just making sure to keep his distance this time. He was a little bit close last. Now, as the drone goes into sight to try and gather some information, it will be shot out immediately. We can see the nade is going to come in, and as it does, Rise pops up, shots do hit him, but ultimately it is the nade of Crying that finishes him off, and that just looked even slicker than last time, if that's possible. Now P4, how many bullets land out of the breach without him getting the kill?
You're going to rue that one, I'm telling you, because Crying's now got a nade coming in with your name on it up towards Shinka, who's hidden down behind the fencing, will not take any damage. Got to say, by the way, again, seeing that EMP come through, absolutely love it out of Leon. One that I'll be taking home for sure. Aces, a kill in the round onto Bibu. That gets Vitality onto the back foot. Corey, yet another one. 25 seconds to play and a 5 versus 2 for Rogue. This should be going all the way to 15, it feels like, Ace. A 5 versus 1. This could even be a clean ace coming through them here as Cactus, the only man left alive. The plant going down, and there it is. A flawless round for Rogue, all the way to 15. I'm nervous a little bit now for both sides, admittedly, about how this can play out. It's Rogue going on to the defence.
I've honestly no idea which way this is going to go. Now, interestingly for Rogue, I did comment coming in that they would have to go to CCTV in order to win this, but because they've managed to turn over the attack, that's not going to be the case. They can, if they wish, go back to Church and Arsenal, which is the site that they have won defensively previously, and that's exactly what they're going to do. I'm not going to say that it's advantage Rogue, but it does feel like it's a good step for them to be able to go to a site that they can at least be comfortable that they have won so far today.
Down to basement it's going to be. I mean, the last one a little bit scrappy. We've seen them get picked off on the roam a couple of times after initially dominating on the roam, let's not forget as well. 3 kills in round number 7 they found with the Mute and the Mozzie up on the top floor. Completely shut Vitality out of the game. They're going to be a lot more conscious of that. The teams have now played each other for 14 rounds. You get a good feel of what to expect coming into sites like this, and for Rogue, it's batten down the hatches time. There is no Mute Mozzie setup. They're not going to roam on the top floor. Instead, a much more defensive setup consisting of the Mirror, the Maestro and the Legion that I pretty much guarantee you're going to see playing around site.
So we've got Corey reinforced. Probably going to play a Mirror on that wall, I would expect. Yep, you'll see.
We saw this out of G2 earlier.
You did, absolutely. And it's placed at a crouch height because otherwise it can be interacted with from the dirt tunnel. So you've got to be careful of that one. Place it down low enough so that the boxers offer cover so it can't just be shot out. If you're ever going to play the Mirror, you've always got to be very aware, very conscious of what's behind you. Nothing more frustrating than a Mirror running into sight, reinforcing on that wall and then popping the Mirror on, and there's a barricaded window directly opposite, and it's going to be the easiest shot out in the world. So that's why they crouch and place it into that position, but it just feeds a lot more information about that blue corridor area back into them.
Very curious to see where Vitality's attack comes through in this round as well. Is it going to be a Moto kitchen and they're going to go for dirt again at some point? Is it going to be pushed down blue to contest the Mirror window? Or is it going to be all of those? I always speak about Zofia players being the one that pushed down these blue stairs. It's exactly the same as we always say it. Often you'll sit there as a solo player and just give that little bit of pressure that stops those inside of Church moving so freely, because you can see through into the back of Church. We've seen some god shots hit by Zofias from there onto Bandit Trickers playing on Church wall. It's why it's quite a risky game at some points here. I think a C4 has tried to come out there from Corey, not connecting onto anyone. And at least here inside the first 60 seconds, there's been no cheeky or over-aggressive deaths. It stays all even.
Absolutely not. Both teams looking to play this, reasonably cautiously. They don't want to throw it away. Rogue have given up a lot of map possession very quickly. That would be my concern. If I was looking at Rogue as a team here and thinking, are they going to get this over the line? That'd be my one question. They've given up a lot of time and a lot of possession to Vitality, whereby they can just take their time here. They can get the setup, they can move people around, they can look at what's going on inside, and they've got time to formulate. They're not having to play on the heels, they're not having to rush in. They can rotate and get dirt tunnel if they wish to. They can think, right, let's push somebody into blue for 30 seconds. They can give plenty of time over to these tasks.
Aces nearly got nade out down there and then almost shot out, but I believe that was an ADS that came out and just saved his life. Otherwise, that'll be the opening kill coming through to Vitality. As we get into that final 60 seconds, though, still Ace, no one is dead. Is this going to be another one of those late-round, bloodthirsty moments that we've seen a couple of times this game?
Out comes the impact nade to just take that Selma off the wall. That's going to be an impact trick to prevent that wall getting opened up any further. It sounds like another one might have been activated there. We've got Shinka just above on the hatch with the EMPs. Yes, we've now got a double-sized hole opened up. P4 gets the kill onto Aces. The Moto drop comes in, but the kills start going in Rogue's direction, Des, until Bibu puts a stop to that with a double. 3 versus 2. It's down to Rips and crying, but Diffuser is in the hands of Shinka and he starts to put it down on the ground with 30 seconds. He needs to stick this.
Can't move comfortably either as well. It's going to stick in this case. Out comes the swing and Bibu wins it again. Captain Bibu with 3 kills from blue. Make it a 4th. Why not in round 15? It came down to the wire, and when you need it most, he goes big. Vitality, they get the 2 points, and look at him. He's so animated. He knows what he's done.
So close for Rogue there. They really do deserve to take something away, which they will. 1 point for an overtime loss. Vitality taking away the 2. Both teams fighting absolutely tooth and nail for that result.
My God, it was a scrap. It was set up to be the match of the day, and I won't lie, I was one of the pessimistic ones coming into it thinking, is it going to be a high-quality match? But honestly, that was a really good game of Clubhouse between both sides. It was full of roam setups, more site